Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Assalamu alaikum, bachcho. Today our topic is the reasons of the downfall of Umayyad dynasty. As you know, Banu Umayyah was a noble tribe in Makkah. Their renowned leader was Abu Sufyan, who was the bitter enemy of Islam until the conquest of Makkah. After the martyrdom of Hazrat Usman Ghani Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, a series of civil wars was started in the Islamic State. It got serious after the Battle of Siffin between Hazrat Ali alayhi salam and Hazrat Amir Mawiyah in 38 Hijrah. At last, the Islamic State was divided between both of them. When Hazrat Ali embraced martyrdom on 21st Ramzan 40 Hijrah, his elder son Imam Hassan became the caliph, but he resigned from caliphate after only 6 months in favor of Amir Mawiyah in 41 Hijri. So Amir Mawiyah became the solitary ruler of the Islamic State. Damascus, Syria was its capital. Umayyad dynasty ruled over the Islamic world for almost 92 years. There were 14 caliphs in this dynasty. Amir Muawiyah was the first and Marwan II was the 14th and last ruler. But in 132 Hijri, the rule of this dynasty came to an end after the Battle of Zab against Abbasids. The main reasons of the downfall of Umayyad dynasty are mentioned below. You can see the impression also. The first one is conversion of caliphate into kingship, जिसको हम उर्दू में कहते हैं खिलाफत की मलूकियत में तब्दीली. The Khulafai Rashidin was a great model for all the people. But when Amir Muawiyah became the ruler of the Islamic world, he founded kingship in place of caliphate. He often used to say, "I am the first king." When he appointed his son Yazid as his successor or crown prince in 50 Hijri on the advice of Mughayra bin Shu'bah and took pledge for him during his life, people got extremely furious and disappointed because it was against the teaching of Islam. People of that time eagerly wanted the revival of Rashidun Caliphate. So when there was any movement against the Umayyads, they used to stand up to support it by every means. This desire of restoration of the Rashidun Caliphate was a strong reason of the downfall of the Umayyads. Second one and the most important reason was the tragedy of Karbala. The biggest reason of the Umayyads' downfall was the tragic incident of Karbala when Yazid bin Muawiyah became Islamic ruler. In 60 Hijri, the maternal grandson of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, Imam Hussein, refused to give him a pledge or to accept him as a ruler because he was not suitable for this post because of his loose characteristics. He was a luxurious man. He was extremely fond of wine, drinking, music, and dance. That's why Imam Hussein bin Ali and many of his companions refused to give him their support. Consequently, they were cruelly martyred in the Battle of Karbala on 10th Muharram 61 Hijri. This tragic incident created an immense hatred in the hearts of the Muslim for Umayyads. Another reason of their downfall is autocracy. Umayyad Caliphate was totally different from Rashidun Caliphate. It was an autocrat kind of government. The Umayyad rulers used to behave like dictators. They had no effective or authorized Majlis-e Shura like in Dori Khilafat. That's why their ministers, advisors, and other important relevant persons were extremely annoyed with them. Their opposition of the Umayyad caliphs became one of the biggest reason of the downfall of this dynasty. Islamic State was a very large state in the world at that time. It was comprised of three continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe. So it was extremely difficult to control this vast state. When there was any revolt against the Umayyads, the troops had to move from different provinces to cope with it. Sometimes the provincial governors refused to obey the order of the caliphs. In this regard, the caliphs were at the mercy of their army commanders and other provincial governors for help. This thing weakened the center, which resulted in the downfall of Umayyads. Another reason was the incompetent caliphs. After Hisham bin Abdul Malik, there was no competent ruler. They couldn't run the government affairs properly. Walid II, Yazid III, and Ibrahim were absolutely incompetent for caliphate. Marwan II had some political abilities and guts, but he was helpless before the energetic and effective Abbasid movement. This incompetency of the caliphs led to the downfall of Umayyad dynasty. Racial differences was another major curse for the Umayyad Caliphate. There was a bitter enmity between Mazri and Yamni tribes even before the emergence of Islam. The Mazri tribes were called Adnani and the Yamni tribes were known as Kahtani. Another reason was religious differences. These differences were increasing day by day amongst the Muslims during the reign of Umayyads. The newly converted Muslims of Persia and North Africa had not much strong faith in the Islamic teachings, and their Islamic practices were also irregular. So the enemies of Islam took full benefit of it and they created fake beliefs and misunderstanding among the Muslims. Expulsion of Iranian from jobs. Umayyad Caliphate was totally an Arabic caliphate. They expelled all the Persian and Iranian from all their jobs. They used to prefer the Arabs over non Arab people in every department of the government. This thing created immense hatred in the hearts of Iranian and Ajami people. Kharji, these Kharji were emerged after the Battle of Siffin in 38 Hijri, as I described to you earlier. They had created their own beliefs which were totally against the teaching of Islam. They were few in numbers but very brave and courageous. They were another danger for the Umayyad Caliphate for their extremist activities. They defeated the Umayyads army many times in spite of limited resources. Their continuous violent activities led to the downfall of Umayyad Caliphate. Humiliation of Islamic scholars and saints. Umayyad caliphs also humiliated many companions of the Holy Prophet, Tabain, and other famous saints. They put them behind the bars for their opposition, and some were martyred in a brutal manner, like Hazrat Abdullah ibn Zubair, Mus'ab bin Zubair, Abu Hashim Abdullah. People were extremely furious over this, so they supported every movement which was started against the Umayyad Caliphate. Ethical downfall of the Umayyad Caliph were also one of the reason of their decline. Many Umayyad caliphs like Walid II, Yazid III, and Ibrahim were totally incompetent. These caliphs and some of their ministers had no interest whatsoever in happening in government affairs. They lived a luxurious life. They arranged music and dance party in their courts. They were extremely fond of wine drinking. They had a lot of concubines to enjoy. Another cause of their downfall was their cruel governors. Governors like Hajjaj bin Yusuf. He was the most brutal person in this regard. He was the governor of Iraq, and during the reigns of Abdul Malik bin Marwan and Walid bin Abdul Malik, he killed almost 1,25,000 people with his own hand, and thousands were killed upon his order. Ubaidullah bin Ziyad was another brutal and savage governor of Kufa, who was directly involved in the martyrdom of Imam Hussain and his companion at Karbala in 61 Hijri. So, this brutality of the Umayyad governors created an immense hatred in the hearts of the people and finally resulted in the downfall of the Umayyad dynasty in Syria. Humiliation of renowned commanders was another cause. The Umayyad Caliph also humiliated or killed many renowned Islamic commanders during their caliphate. Suleiman bin Abdul Malik was extremely notorious in this regard. He humiliated Qutayba bin Muslim and Musa bin Nusayr in a horrible manner. He also martyred Muhammad bin Qasim and Tariq bin Ziyad just because of his biasness and selfishness. Yazid bin Abdul Malik killed almost all the persons of Banu Mohlib who had great services for the glory of Umayyad Caliphate. So, this brutal attitude of the Umayyad Caliphs with the Islamic heroes led to their downfall very quickly. And the last one is the strong Abbasid movement launched against the Umayyad Caliphate by Muhammad bin Hanafiya, who was the non-Fatimid son of Hazrat Ali Karamallah Wajho. The center of this movement was Hamima, a village of Palestine. Iraq and Khorasan were its other main centers. This secret or confidential movement gained immense popularity when Muhammad bin Ali Abbasi, the great grandson of Hazrat Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, became its head. Abu Muslim Khurasani made this movement a slow poison for the Umayyad Caliphate. The Battle of Zab in 132 Hijri proved to be the last nail in the coffin of Umayyad rule. In this battle, the Abbasid army defeated the Umayyad army in a ridiculous manner, and the last Umayyad Caliph Marwan Sani was killed. With his murder, the 92 years period of the Umayyad Caliphate came to an end, and Abul Abbas Abdullah as-Saffah became the first caliph of the Abbasid dynasty. That is all for today. If you have any problem related this to this lecture, you can ask question from me in your group. Fi aman Allah.